situación de Myanmar.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, I congratulate Colombia on its presidency of the Security Council, and thank you for convening this vital open debate. We thank the briefers for their insightful statements. Trapped in a man-made brutal conflict for over 5 years, Myanmar intimately understands the cost of shattered peace and security. The unlawful military coup of February 2021 and the ensuing military terror against civilians are the sole culprits of today's multidimensional catastrophe in Myanmar. The perpetrating military junta continues to systematically commit war crimes and crimes against humanity by blatantly violating international law, international human rights, and humanitarian law. As a result of their indiscriminate attacks against the civilian populations and civilian infrastructure, the scale of devastation remains staggering. Many credible reports have documented the displacement of over 3.7 million people. Almost 22 million people are in need of humanitarian assistance. 10.4 million are women and girls, and over 6.3 million are children. The military systematically deploys conflict-related sexual violence as a calculated weapon of war. With over 900 cases of rape, gang rape, and sexual torture documented since the coup, the sheer indiscriminate nature of this violence is terrifying. In February 2026 alone, 63 women were killed, primarily through relentless area bombardments and artillery shelling, and 66 were injured, including young girls and pregnant women. Furthermore, the junta's deliberate blockade of humanitarian aid and the targeted destruction of medical facilities have induced a catastrophic collapse in maternal health care, disproportionately punishing women and girls in conflict-affected areas. Yet, Myanmar women and girls advocating for and defending human rights and women's rights remain unbound and fearless, standing as the undeniable vanguard of our revolution. They are driving the civil disobedience movement, sustaining local administrative and healthcare networks under the junta's bombardments, and leading on the front line as political strategists, community mediators, and defense commanders. From mass mobilization in border areas to frontline resistance inside the country, women are exposing atrocities, defending their communities, and shattering a culture of impunity. The recently established Steering Council for the Emergence of a Federal Democratic Union is actively embedding gender equality into our emerging federal institutions and preparing transitional justice mechanisms to prosecute junta perpetrators for gender-based atrocities. Therefore, Madam President, it is in our view that the international community needs to step up and keep pace with the tangible progress forged by Myanmar's democratic forces. For all these years, efforts of the international community have yet to yield the decisive breakthroughs our people desperately need. First, the implementations of ASEAN 5-point consensus has regrettably not achieved in its intended goals. A recalibrated regional approach that genuinely centers the indispensable voices of women and legitimate democratic representatives is urgently required. Second, this Council is facing challenges in reaching a unifying stance. Under this pressure, we must look to the complementary strength of the UN General Assembly to uphold democratic credentials and drive comprehensive, coordinated global actions. Finally, to achieve sustainable peace and stability in Myanmar, we urge the United Nations and its member states to take the following concrete actions. Enforce strict non-recognitions. Categorically reject the junta's fraudulent elections and their manufactured results. The military junta's atrocities have deepened. The people's suffering have aggravated further. The unwarranted diplomatic engagement will embolden the military juntas to commit further international crimes. Empower democratic alliances. Further strengthen and formalize multilateral engagement with the NUG and the Steering Council, deliver direct humanitarian support, circumvent the junta's blockades by providing flexible, direct financial and technical support to women-led civil society organizations operating on the ground, ensure legal accountability, support international judicial mechanisms to hold the military perpetrators fully accountable for war crimes, crimes against humanity, and sexual violence. Madam President, the future of Myanmar rests on the elimination of military dictatorship and the establishment of a federal democratic union. The courage of Myanmar's women on the ground demonstrate that they are not merely survivors of this conflict, but the very architects of our future peace. There is no time to lose. The root cause of this issue must be fully addressed. We look to this Council and the entire UN system to match the resilience of our people with decisive actions, ensuring that impunity is ended, accountability is upheld, and that the legitimate, inclusive voice of the people of Myanmar finally prevail. I thank you, Madam President.
Y concedo la palabra